Hi, this is Via from Via Creates, and welcome to my February bullet journal setup. My vision for this spread was to draw a tree in an enchanted forest that had a door going inside of it as if it was maybe like a treehouse or a fairy house. And because it's February, I wanted to have that door shaped like a heart and to include lots of bows and ribbons for that really, I think, pretty vintage Valentine's Day feel. So that was kind of the mood and the vision for this spread, and I started with using the font that I'm using in all of my Enchanted bullet journal spreads. And I have sketched out everything beforehand, which was really helpful because I did a ribbon border and it overlapped the letters, and so having that really clear outline was so nice when I was drawing everything out, because I don't think I would have been able to envision how things would overlap without the entire picture in front of me. I actually love drawing ribbons and bows so much because I feel like it's really easy, but it gives a really pretty effect, especially when you can do all the really fun twists and turns and add some of the shading. It always ends up looking really nice, and it's been really fun to include kind of the coquette theme in my bullet journal recently. Not all trends really fit with my journaling style, but it's kind of fun to follow the trends and be a part of that too. I was so nervous for drawing the door because I wanted it to be perfect. It's going to be kind of the focal point of this spread, and just kind of one of those things that I couldn't find a really good reference photo for, and so I did kind of have to wing it a little bit. But I was able to draw kind of this grain on it to make it look wooden and to add an organic looking handle. So even though the shape is a little bit incongruous with the rest of the spread, I think it still fits in well with the other artistic styles in here. I think I discovered how to draw tree bark when I was maybe 10 or 11, and that was like the greatest realization ever. It's actually so easy, especially if you have a brush pen. So I loved getting to do that on this spread. And then as you can see here, I'm adding in little ribbons to the trees. Don't know where I remember this from, but I feel like I've read like a fairy tale or something like that where there was ribbons tied to a tree, and I just thought since I have a ribbon border, I might as well include it inside the picture too. Throughout all of my Enchanted Forest spreads, I'm including these swirls of kind of like magic, and I really wanted to replicate what I did in the first spread because I loved how it turned out, and I don't like this one as much, but I'm sure in the upcoming months it will work out a little bit better. And this part is just all coloring in, which is so fun, but also a little bit stressful because I didn't know how I wanted this to look. So as you can see, I tried a few different colors. A lot of my pens ended up like dying halfway through. First I thought I was going to try to have the tree glow from within, and that didn't end up working out. I think it would have been a lot easier to do that with a different medium. So I decided to do the tree all one color, and I chose this kind of purpley pinkish color. I'm not sure what to call it, because I think it contrasts nicely with the purple and the browns in here. And then I knew that the sky was going to be navy blue, so I did want something that would pop a little bit from that as well. I unintentionally made it so hard for myself to color in the sky. This is definitely a moment where I was like, this would have been so much easier if I did this with acrylic, because I could just layer things, especially around the edges of the trees. I wanted it to make it look a little bit more realistic, but that's really hard when you're also just trying to outline everything and there's all these little curves that you have to follow. So this part was definitely difficult, but I'm glad I persevered and stuck it out because I really do like the result, and I think taking that extra time was worth it. This is finally the moment where I was looking at it and I was like, okay, I've trusted the process, everything is working out. The spread isn't a total fail. I feel like every time I make any piece of art, whether it's in my journal or just in any other medium, I always have those times where I'm thinking that I just need to like throw everything out and that what I'm doing is terrible. But it really does pay off to trust the process and to just see things out and to try new things. For example, in this part, I originally painted the tree or colored the tree this light brown color, but I kind of wanted to do a little bit of more of a monochromatic feel, so I ended up coloring over the tree bark as well as the door with different colors of purple, and I think that really helped to make this a little bit more cohesive, especially since there are so many different shades of purple and blue. I think it helps to make everything look more put together despite having so many colors. I kind of saved the ribbon for last as a little bit of a treat because it's so fun to color these in, and I decided to go with just a really lovely purple shade. So I just used a marker and I outlined it, and then I added in little bits of shading. One of the most foolproof methods for coloring in something to look really nice is to just outline with a darker color like this and color it in either with a lighter color or use a marker to outline and color in with colored pencil. It's super simple, but it always turns out looking so beautiful. Brush pens like this are so perfect for lettering because if you're filling in something, you really have the flexibility to use a much wider side to fill in larger parts, and it has that little pointed end for the details. This brush pen specifically is the Pitt artist pen. All the materials that I use in my spreads are listed in the description. And if you guys have any questions ever about something that I use, feel free to ask me. I always love talking about art supplies and what I feel like is worth it to get and what isn't worth it, especially when it comes to things like longevity, because I really do try to buy my products that I will be able to use for long periods of time. And so I definitely have brands that I fully support in terms of how long it lasts and that I think are worth the money even if they are a little bit more expensive. Here is the final look. I think my favorite part of the spread is definitely the border. It turned out so pretty and I love how everything just sparkles. I began by drawing out my title for the habit trackers just on a separate piece of paper before I went in to do the actual spread. So I like to do this format where I have the first half of my reading list on the top, and then the bottom half of the page is my habit trackers. I find that since I've been in college, I really don't track that many habits, nor do I read that many books outside of the books that I read for class. So it's kind of nice to keep everything on one page, and then by the end of the month it ends up looking really filled up and nice, versus if I did a whole page for each one, I feel like it would look kind of empty, and I would end up kind of wasting a lot of space, I think. I would probably add in little designs and drawings, of course, but I think it's nice to be a little bit more efficient with the space like this. I wasn't sure if I was going to color in the background of this spread. The first time I ever did that was for January, so the last month. But I just ended up loving it so much, and I kind of was so mad at myself for even doing it the first time because I'm like, no, this looks too good and I'm gonna have to color in the background of every spread this year. but it ends up looking so nice at the end. And I think especially like I love this color of purple, and so just seeing it all completed was so satisfying. And it was really meditative, honestly, to just color it in like this. It wasn't too hard, it's all straight lines, so that made it pretty easy. This is absolutely my favorite part of any spread, which is adding in the highlights with this gorgeous silver pen. This is a Uniball Signal metallic pen, and I also added all these little stars, and it just looks so cute. One thing that I love to do when I'm journaling is to watch Gilmore Girls or listen to podcasts, and it just creates such a nice soothing mood. So for the spread today, I am continuing on with the tree theme, and I am drawing in all of the elements first with my brush pen. I wanted to make this match the other side of the page really well, so I kind of drew the tree to be extending into the reading list and habit trackers page, and then I'm going to use the same color for the leaves as I did for the background of that page. And I think that makes it really look nice and flow really well together. I'm just using the same brush pen as before for the title for my quotes page. Usually by this point I just want to do something more simple, and I find that doing just this type of cursive lettering always looks really nice, but it can be a little bit more low effort, especially since it's something that I've practiced a lot over the years, so it kind of feels like second nature now. This is my second year of doing these quote pages, and so what I started doing last year was I created my own digital planner, and in each week I put a different quote, and I kind of collected these quotes throughout the year, the previous year from poetry or books or Pinterest, and this year I put a little bit more thought into where each quote goes in terms of month. So I tried to choose ones that I knew would fit in with kind of my theme for the month. I feel like even if I don't have like my bullet journal planned out necessarily, I have pretty consistent vibes that I get from each month. And so I kind of did it that way, and I think it ended up turning out really nicely. And so I already had them all set up, which makes it pretty easy to just go in and write the quotes and see how they turn out. To fill up some of the empty space at the bottom, I just added some more purple. I don't know what this is necessarily in terms of like items, but I think it really adds in that nice little bit of color, and I was able to add more sparkles, which is always a good thing. Thank you so much for watching my February bullet journal setup. I hope that these spreads inspired you and were a good way for you to gain some own ideas for your journal or your art. If you have any questions, as always, leave them in the comments below, and I hope that you all have a wonderful day.